So it's the new day and we need some more light in here. So I took the light off. I added a light at the end. As you can see, there's a fitting at the very end of this waterproof light that I have in the middle of the room. Mainly I bought a waterproof light because I want the dust off. I don't want light around the actual bulbs. I'd rather have it on something I can easily clean with a towel if I get dust from here. So I added a light, and I got two little lights that actually also have an easy way to clean, and I can turn off each light individually. But I'm actually taking the in support, which is in connector, which is a waterproof connector to put wires in, and I'm running my wire through, and I'm going to hook it up right to where the normal light is actually connected, right to these wire nuts right here. So with that being said, I've done one side. The train just passed. Now I have to do the other side. I've found is the easiest way to work on something like that's going to be up above you is I got one of these, not a ladder because a ladder you're limited. I got one of these, I guess, support benches. Or platforms is probably what they call them. I've had this for a while, never really used it that much, but now I'm starting to use it more because you put your platform on and you can actually walk from one end to the other of where you're putting the light, which is going to be right up here on these beams. So each light comes with a kit of stuff. You get various items for various ways of hooking up a light. You get screws and inserts if you're putting it into a concrete roof or a concrete wall you're going to hang. You get little brackets. These brackets actually get bolted directly to something, like on a piece of wood if you have a side beam. I don't have a beam like that, but if I was putting it down a beam, I would actually screw this directly into the piece of wood, such as this, and then the light would actually hook into these little clips and go click, click, and then the light would actually be up that way. So that's what those are for. These are for getting rid of extra wires you have. So you have a wire connector. These, if you're going into wood, you just screw them in, hook your chain up, and then hang your light accordingly. This is if you want to turn it on and off from a distance. The metal piece that comes with it, I don't really need that, but I'm going to save that because that might be used for another project. Then you get your chain. What are we going to use? We're going to use the chains. You get S-hooks. The S-hooks are designed to go into a groove on the top of the light, and then you hook the chain to it. I'm going to use two S-hooks. I'm going to use these, and because I'm going in the metal, and they didn't include anything in metal, and our light is fairly light, I don't have to worry about a weight issue, I'm going to be using two metal screws to hook the light up. So let's get it done. So the first thing I have to do is I have to figure out where exactly the light's going to go, because I don't want my chains to be stretched in some oddball direction, which is going to make the light, A, it's going to be harder to get it to hang flat, and B, it's going to make the light not easy to figure out exactly where we're the level. So what I'm going to do is put the light right where I want it to be. I want it to line up with my electrical so I can go directly into the light. I want it to be fairly close because I am putting shelves at this end. I might have something going all the way to the ceiling, so I don't want to have it too close. So I'm going to go directly from my bottom, the light where the screws are, and I'm actually going to make two X's right above where my attachments are. So I'm going to draw two X's. That's going to give me where to go. I'm going to take my screw gun. Handiest thing ever made is this particular item. I use it, I have three of them. And I'm going to screw directly into my roof or my beam. I'm going to screw my wire directly in. I'm going to do the same thing the side where the light goes. Now on the other side, the light I already did, my light was hanging 9 from the top. Now, when you put these in, your chain is going to go in one direction or the other. Don't do that and drop your screw, because then you got to get off the ladder or the platform. When you put these in, your screw is going to be up and your chain is going to be behind your screw, and it's going to be tightened. So whatever direction you put your chain going, make sure the same one goes on both sides. Like that, for instance. If one is this way and one is the other way, your light's going to be askew. It's not going to be straight. Because even though you put the holes in the right place, your chain is hanging on an angle that's different. If this was a heavy item, I would say bend the chain to make sure it comes straight down. This is a light item, so you don't have to go through that. And one's going that way. Let's make them both go towards the center. That way I'm centering it. Now is when the S-hooks come in. The S-hooks I gave us. Obviously you want to make sure the cord's on the same side as the light that you're putting in. So these S-hooks, there's little brackets in the bottom, little holes in the bottom. And the reason for that is you can put a screw in the middle, put the light in, and it falls, and it will actually hook against the wall. But the reason why there's 2 hooks is because the S-hook goes into that space, bends over, and hooks through the hole. And now you're hanging the light up on the S-hook. You want to put these in first, then hang the light, because these hooks are harder to put in when you're not looking at the hole, and you have to bend the cord in all different directions. So the other light is 9 down. So do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should put me right below my beam. Do the same thing to the other side and count down the same, and don't walk off the end of your platform. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, because I used a different part of the roof, it actually is not high enough. I want it as high as can be. I don't have to have any room under it. So the high as can be size, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, this is those odd instances where you're like, interesting. If I put this light where I have 6 down on this side and 6 down on the other side, the light doesn't fit, even though they're both 6 down. These beams, if you notice, they're both going in the same direction, but one beam is level and one beam is off by 1/2 inch, and it's level on this side. So one of these beams are skewed. So the only way to get the light to actually go directly below the beam is to be away from one and close to another. Or, this is my wall. So I'm going from my wall into my workbench, in my work area. So I'm going to put this light, since my beams are already crooked, I'm going to put 6 on this side and 7 on this side. So the appearance you have from down there is it's the same, it's level, because it's the same distance from both of these beams that go across. The actual thing is that the whole light is skewed, but that doesn't bother me because it's actually going to skew the light towards my room instead of skewing it towards the wall. If it was the other way, you might end up with a shadow and more light at one end than the other. But you'll have a little bit of that because of the distance, but it's not going to be noticeable. So now, I don't like to cut the extra string, the extra cord, just in case I decide to move something. But I don't like it hanging because I think it looks messy. So I'm going to take my extra chain I have and hook it on top of the light by wrapping it around and hooking it on that extra piece that just went through the light. So it's going to be hooked up on top of the light. If I just wrap it around, as time goes on, it's just going to fall sometime or another. So now it's time to do electrical. So at both ends, I took off the cap and I have one of these. That allows the wire to go through. I can tighten the wire, and when it tightens, it closes up the hole so I still don't get my dust. I don't want the dust into the light because it's a major pain to clean the light because you have the actual light tubes. These are LEDs. The one in the middle is a light tube. So I get a mixture. I get half LED, half fluorescent. So I've already put my fitting in. So now I'm putting this through the light. And my cord will come right out the middle. I want to put a little bit of a slack. I don't want it to be tight because I don't want the cord to end up pulling the light. So I want a little bit of slack, and I'll tighten that cord in so its days of moving are finished. But you're not over tightening because you're not holding the cord, you're just making it snug so the hole is fit, basically all filled in. Now this light currently does not have any tubes. The tubes are missing. Make sure the light switch is off, and if you're going to be super careful, turn off the breaker that goes to this light. So you should have turned the breaker off, the light switch off, turn the breaker off first because you know where the light switch is. Turn the breaker off first, you know you're turning off the right breaker. Then turn off the switch just as a double. And now I can deal with my light power. I have a black and I have a white wire coming into this light. So those are the two wires I'm going to use to hook up my new lights. So I'm going to take my cord, a little bit of slack, not much, cut off the extra. Probably not going to do much of that. It's a little bit too short to do anything with. But we will use this to show something. Okay, so I had to change the camera so I can actually show you the light cord. So if you look at your light cord, one side of the cord is going to be smooth. No notches, no nothing. The other side of the cord is going to have these little grooves on it. Those little grooves tell you that is the white side. The groove side is always the neutral. The power side is always the smooth. So I know that even though there's no color change, and even though it looks like it's two black wires, I know that the light white, the wire that has the grooves in it, is going to be my white wire. That way I can hook up the light to the proper polarity on my old light. Now, when it comes to electrical work, when I was very young, I was at our house. I was helping my dad change out receptacles in the house. I think I was 10 or 12 years old. We bought a house, had no ground on any of the plugs, had to take all the plugs out, put ground plugs and ground them to the casing of the actual electrical. That's my first run-in with electrical. That would be 48 years ago. And to this day, I still remember something my dad said to me, and I still work with it on a daily basis. What he said was, when you're working on electrical, no matter who you're working with, always assume there could be a problem and check your wiring before you continue. So he gave me a little voltmeter, and even though he's the one that's turning the power off, to check every outlet before I touch it. So to this day, I still kind of go with the same thing. And what that is I assume there could be an issue. So when I'm doing electrical work, I don't actually touch the wires unless I have to. So I know this is my white wire. So I put the two white wires together, so they're one. Hold my white wire up where it's going to go, next to the wire that's already there, capture them both with my wire tie, and then I tighten. So I just hooked up my wires, and I didn't actually even touch the wires. If for some oddball reason it was live, which I know for a fact that it is not, I would not have been hurt because I did not touch the wires. That's my little way of doing things. Just a spec. Do the same thing with the black wire. Take it off, hold my wires next to the new wires, capture them both with the wire nut, and then tighten them up. So my wire's all hooked up now. Now, I don't have my bulbs in, but I'm electrically safe. So I can turn this on and see if I have light. If you haven't noticed, it got a hell of a lot brighter in here. So yes, I have light. Now I can turn off my switch. Take my little wire ties they gave me, and I can wire tie some of this mess up in the middle here. So I'm going to wire tie this up with the wire tie that came in my little kit. I have it, might as well use it. Makes it a little bit easier to put the cover on. And then I'll wire tie the other side up with the other wire tie, because I had two lights, so I got two little white wire ties, which are small enough, and to be honest, are cheap enough. I can't really do much with them, but I can tie the wires up. That way when I put the cover on here, I don't have to worry about it catching. So there you go. And you're super want nothing to happen or just hate electrical, you can always tape up the wire nuts. So just in case there's some strange force that happens, the wire nut won't fall off. I say that because I've seen a lot of lights I've taken apart and they were taped up. Somebody thought that was a good idea. It makes absolutely no difference to me. The wire nut's never going to come off. But somebody thought it was a good idea. So in case you're one of those people and you think it's extra safe to have that wire nut on there, there you go. So now we're going to put our cover back on. Our cover comes with these little pins. They're extremely annoying. If you are using a ladder, make sure you have a pair of pliers with you, because you'll probably need a pair of pliers to put that cover that you might have taken off by your own fingers when you took the light apart. So the cover goes up. This goes into the little hole. Make sure the cover covers both ends. And then you have to turn it to get it to lock. And it clicks, and now you're locked. And now you work your way back, going up the light. As you see, there's a wire sticking out. So you check all the way through, pushing as you go, making sure all the wires are in. And when you get to the other end, you do the same thing. Push it up all the way. Make sure it goes over both sides. Try to hope the piece doesn't fall out. If it does, push it back in, push it up, and turn it. You know, you usually cannot turn them to tighten them. You can turn them to loosen them by hand. And there you go. My light is now put back together. All my wires are behind my metal, and we're all good. Now I put the bulbs back in. I don't quite know why they're using bulbs that are so damn small. This particular light does. Actually, I do know why. I just figured out as I'm talking to you. The reason why the bulbs in this light are so small is because it's designed to be completely waterproof and sealed. So this is an outdoor light designed to be outdoors. So in most instances, the light would be done. But because it's an outdoor light designed to be outdoors, this light isn't done because it has an outdoor waterproof, dustproof cover. It goes over top of everything. Which is annoying to put on because those little clips, as you just heard one fall, it's falling as you're putting it on. So then you clip it in place. And without the clip falling off, clip it in place, and your light is now dustproof, waterproof, everything proof. We're ready to go with so much light. Oh my. Now I can just walk up and turn off a light if I don't want a light on. So how much light do I have? As you can see in the picture, the light at the end is so bright it blurs out. So if I turn off that light, I do have a dead spot. It's still light, but it's not as light. So if I'm working on the bandsaw, which is right here, I now have direct light that I don't have to worry about. The bandsaw does have a light and a laser, but I ended up buying a Grizzly G0803Z bandsaw. It came in It looks cool. I am not impressed. Maybe I'm over expecting for what I paid for it, but I would not be buying another one. It might last 40 years, but I would not be buying another one. I'm not impressed with it at all. They cut a lot of corners. There's a lot of plastic pieces instead of metal pieces. And even though it says it's available, adjustable speed, there is no way to adjust the speed on this. There's no knobs, there's no switches, there's no adjustments, there's no tension, there's not two rollers, there's not two anything. There's no way to adjust the speed on this saw. Okay, that's my light video. On to the next subject.